Well, it's been about a month or so since my awakening, and I did a course with the Robert Monroe Institute. We did 5 or 6 meditations a day. We were all on FaceTime with some counselors or teachers, and it was intense. The best analogy I found for this is when I was learning to kite foil, which is kiteboarding with a foil board, which is a hydrofoil on a mast that extends about 3 feet under you so you can ride over the tops of the waves. Well, anyways, when I first tried it, just seemed impossible. There's no way that, I was like, who the hell came up with this idea? But then I saw, a bunch of my friends around me were zooming around and already had got it and were doing it. So I kept trying and I kept trying until I got it. And then once you get it, it's easy. And so I think it's the same with getting in touch with your inner self and the place inside you that is immortal. I don't really know yet. Still learning, but it is progressing, and still just incredibly hard to get through all these feelings and traumas and stuff. And I'm really appreciative of the opportunity to explore this and hopefully understand it at some point, because the possibilities become infinite and it just sounds kind of fun. Well, I guess I'll just tell you a story. So when I was about 27, I had got a pretty nice yacht together, a 40-foot C&C sloop that I rebuilt, and sailed it down to Florida with some friends. And then me and my wife Julie and some other friends went to the Bahamas, and we lived in the Bahamas for the winter. And we met up with some friends on Rum Cay, which is one of the most southern Bahama islands. And there was a really nice marina there called Sumner Marina, I think. This guy Bobby had built this incredible canal, like right out of the limestone, and this beautiful restaurant right there with a smokehouse and docks, and it was really nice. There's a lot of people there at this time. This was 2000, and the economy was pretty good, and so there was a lot of yachts around. And I met up with 2 of my other friends that I had been living with on the harbor here in Nantucket, and then they had their own sailboats, and they had told me that they had some work there building some cottages. So I made my way down there and eventually got there, and it was so fun to meet up with your friends in paradise, with your homes, your mobile crafts. And I was really excited to get some work, because I didn't know how I was going to fund myself sailing around the world. But unfortunately, right before I got there, the locals on the island got in a beef with everybody about my friends getting all the work, even though they were really good carpenters compared to the other people. But anyways, work wasn't available for me because of the tension between the locals and Marina. And so Bobby was walking away after telling me, and I was like, shit. And then he came walking back and he said, actually, I heard you're a good spear fisherman. I'll give you $10 a pound for lobster and grouper. And I could not believe my luck. Spear fishing was one of my very favorite things to do. I don't do it anymore because we fished everything out pretty much. But it was so great. And I just had a tab at the restaurant, and we lived there for probably 2 or 3 months. And at the end, we settled up, and he actually owed me $40. And I said, hey, if you can fill up my diesel tank, we'll call it good. So no money was spent, but good times were had. It was really fun. We had so many adventures, big waves, surf adventures. And so anyways, here I'm coming to the main story. I think it was the day after my birthday, February 8th, and this was kind of before there was surf forecasting. We could look at the Navy WAM, but that's all we had. Somehow we were able to know that a swell was coming down from the north. So we were all hungover, but me and my friend Rob we had this 20-foot Carolina skiff, which is like a flat bottom workboat. Bobby had let us use it. He said if we could fix the engine, we could use it. So yeah, we fixed the engine, and we were bombing around, and this thing was so awesome. And we went out to this place on the other side of the island, about 10 miles away, called Sandy Point. And it was pretty much flat calm. So we flew over there real fast. And as we turned the corner, we see there was really no waves at all. But it looked really good for fishing. So we went fishing for a while up towards the north coast. And we came back as we were coming around Sandy Point, which is the southwestern point from Key. And we saw a wave break. And we were so hungover and hot and thirsty, we decided to just get wet and try and catch a couple waves. Well, the swell just came up, and we ended up surfing for at least 3 hours straight. The waves just got bigger and bigger and bigger. It was just the most incredible surf because the water there is so clear. You can kind of, as the depth gets deeper and deeper, the color of the water changes. And then it corresponds to how big the set is. So the darker the color was, the bigger the set. It's an amazing place. The ocean floor drops off 2 miles, like around Rumkey. It's really good sport fishing and stuff like that. Big fish, big sharks. I just remember getting some tubes that were just so crystalline, the sun coming through the tube and not a drop of water out of place, and just riding a single fin at the time. It's just bitching. And it was just me and Rob, and we were having so much fun. Anyways, we had a session of our lives, and I went back to the boat, and I was eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, my shades on, and chilling, and basking in the afterglow. And here comes this huge set, and I see Rob catch like the second one, and he just gets the best barrel of the day all the way through. But I'm not watching because there's a set behind him that is across the horizon, and I mean in front of me. And I'm sort of watching him getting barreled, but I see this wave and it starts to crumble, and I'm in 25 feet of water, and it starts crumbling way out there. So it broke in 20 something foot of water, and that's a big wave. And it keeps rolling, and it just gains momentum with the white water. It's not like big or anything, but there's a lot of white water, and it just keeps coming. And so I take my sunglasses off, and I jump off the bow as the wave hits. And Rob comes out of the barrel, comes out of the back of the wave, and he's like, yeah! And then he sees the boat get hit by the wave and flip over as I jump off. And he's like, yeah, no! Oh God. And then shit. So luckily there's flotation in the boat, so it's floating there upside down, and all our shit's floating away or on the bottom. So we're scrambling, we're swimming around on our surfboards and saving surfboards and surfboard bags, and shit's just floating away. And pretty soon we're paddling out over the 2 mile ledge, and we just feel like shark bait. So we let like 2 board bags and I think a gas can float away, and then we went back to the boat, and we started diving down and getting all our stuff and putting it on the overturned hull, which was covered with slimy seaweed and stuff. And we had tools and all kinds of crap, all our foul weather gear. And so we put it all on top of the boat, and then sure enough, another set comes, knocks it all off again. And we're just getting so exasperated. And so we start ferrying stuff to shore, which is a little ways away, so it takes until dark to do that, and we're exhausted, no food, and oh man, while I was on the overturned hull, this big roosterfish came, and I grabbed the spear, and I nailed him, but he was so big, he bent the spear like at a right angle. That was our dinner, though. I was so pissed. I had a fire going, and we were most worried about the bugs, because the no-see-ums in the Bahamas can kill you, literally. So we built this huge fire, and luckily the wind was offshore, so they couldn't smell us. And we had our foul weather gear, we dried it out, we were safe, and went to sleep on the sand. There's another part of this story, though, that is just insane. So while we're on the overturned hull, this beautiful sailboat comes sailing by us, very close, 1/8 of a mile away, like very close. I had this white board from the box on the boat, and I was waving it back and forth. I could see the helm, but no one was on deck. And they just sailed right past us, and we were shipwrecked. It was 10 miles, and there's no way, you can't walk on this island. It's covered in this brush that's unmovable, and it's like razor sharp rock on the edge. And so the marina was 10 miles away. So it ended up being the Geronimo from St. George's School in Rhode Island. And I got to talk to the captain. It was a lady, And I said, hey, you just went right past some shipwrecked sailors and basically told me to fuck off. I thought that was pretty uncool. But whatever. Story goes on. We went to sleep. This other friend of mine, I think his name was Rob too. He was from North Carolina and he had a heart of gold. He talked like this. You boys. Oh man. Anyways, this tanker had come in, a Russian tanker, and he'd been drinking vodka with those guys all day, and so was so hammered. But when he got back to the marina and found out we were missing, he was so pissed off that nobody had done anything or organized a rescue mission. This was, past midnight now, and he went to the top of the marina, and his friend had a night vision telescope thing, and they could see our fire 10 miles away. So he was so juiced up, he got this guy to get him to use his boat, his runabout center console thing, and they went out there at 1 o'clock in the morning, through all the reefs. It was a full moon, still super dangerous, and they rescued us at like 3 in the morning, and it was so funny. He was so drunk, and he was rolling around in the surf, like the water on the edge of the beach. Ha ha! I found you! I found you! Fuck, we just got in the boat and went back to the marina and went to bed. The next day, I went with my friend Brian with another work boat, and the 20-foot Carolina skiff was still just sitting there upside down. So we put a yoke on her, and it was dead calm, thank God, and we flipped her over and immediately doused the engine with fresh water, pulled the plugs out, fresh water, pulled it, mystery oil, and we got it running, and that engine ran fine the rest of the time I was there, which I thought was amazing. And yeah, no one got hurt. It was an amazing story. What an adventure. Shipwrecked, or skiff wrecked, at one of the best surf breaks in the world. Well, anyways, thanks for listening. That was story number 1. All right, have a good one.